There's so much to do in Dreamlight Valley. That's probably the reason why I haven't been able to stop playing this game. And in my humble experience, I have been able to compile a couple of tips and tricks to help you guys with things you might have not have known. The first tip I have for you guys is pretty common knowledge. Most of you guys probably already do this, but it is to keep a companion with you at all times. Because not only will you get extra resources whenever you are doing their assigned specialty, like Anna for example, she is my forager, but when doing other things that aren't their specialty, you still get experience points for them. As you can see, once I break this rock, Anna will still get experience points, and this will just level up your villagers faster, so you won't have to be looking for specific villagers for specific tasks, when you could just keep one with you at all times, and anything you do will give them experience points. The next tip I have for you guys is, if you guys don't want to walk up to every single villager and talk to them to see what kind of gifts they want today, for example, Mickey wants seafood salad, seaweed, and zucchini, you could instead open up the collection, go to characters, hover over any of them, and it'll tell you the favorite things of the day. This saves a lot of time because many characters are in complete different areas of the map, as you can see, and walking from one to the other would take too much of your time. And in that same collections characters menu, you can also see what kind of specialty they have. For example, Merlin here has gardening, Moana is fishing, Maui is mining, just in case you forget. You could also left click on any of the characters to see what kind of furniture, clothing, motifs they could give you, if you know you want to look ahead and not level up characters just to be able to see this price track. The next thing I have for you guys is more of a trick. As you can see here, in the Glade of Trust, I only have this area unlocked, and this side is still blocked off by these mushrooms. And while some people have been debating about whether this is cheating or not, you could open up the furniture menu, grab your wishing well, and then move it onto the other side. That would allow you to open up your map and then teleport to that wishing well, unlocking this area without you having to progress in the story to move ahead. You guys might know this next one, or you might not, but I think it's pretty important for most people. Every day there's always going to be one of these blue chests, and when you open them, you can see that they give moonstones. The moonstones you get can be in the range from 10 to 20, so be sure to look out for that blue chest every single day. Next up is another time-saving tip. As you can see, I've created some holes, but let's say this was a row of 300, maybe more, and you don't want to go, filling up the holes one by one. So instead, what you could do is, once again, open up your furniture menu. Let's say you have something pretty big here. I'll use this bed as an example. You could place the bed on the holes and then save, and boom, the holes are gone. No need for wasting time on filling up the holes when you could just do this. And then you don't like the bed there, just remove it. The holes are still going to be gone. Now, another time-saving and very efficient tip I have for you guys is create these little pockets of trees. For example, here in the plaza I have these plaza bushes, or here in the forest I have these pine trees, and in the Sunlit Plateau I have these trees over here. The reason for this is because these trees drop the wood types that everybody needs. As you can see, in the plaza we have softwood, the forest we have hardwood, and then in the Sunlit Plateau we have dry wood. And this just makes it easier to find where wood is exactly and then collect it, instead of having all the trees and running around the entire forest, the entire plaza, or the entire Sunlit Plateau looking for wood, when you could have it at your disposal immediately. Now, you need dream shards to unlock all the areas of the map, including the different realms inside the castle. And this is kind of common knowledge, mostly common knowledge, but do not ignore the Dreamlight menu. You can get so many dream shards in very little time by doing these simple things. For example, take a picture, boom, 50 dream shards just like that. Or mine 4 rock spots, 200. Have a daily discussion, 300. We have 100, 200, 200, 250, 250. That's 1,050 right there. So if you're struggling to get Dreamlight, just do not forget about the menu. Another very important time-saving tip that most people might already know, but just in case there's a few of you who don't keep up with the game outside of the game, you don't have to walk all the way to a well to teleport. You could just simply open your map and then click on one of the other wells. Or you could also, and the game teaches you, if you open your map and click T on your keyboard or X on your controller, fast travel to any of the villages or any of the realms, so you don't have to go to the castle either. You could just simply click it and then be transported there immediately. Now, something people might not have known is, as you see my crops here, they looked watered. There was just rain, but if you open up your map, you can see that these crops are actually not watered. For some reason, the rain most of the time, occasionally, doesn't water your crops, even though it looks like they are. So always make sure to watch your map to see if your crops are actually watered, because the rain plays with you sometimes and you don't want to waste 40 minutes thinking your crops are going when they're actually not. A good tip when it comes to quests is make sure to follow them exactly how they tell you to whenever they're in the top left corner, because you could wind up like me and have an extra stone soup which you cannot do anything with. You can see I can't drop it, I can't eat it, and I can't sell it. So if a quest tells you to go home and grab oregano and put it in your inventory, do not cook the dish first, because it will not see it as you grabbing the oregano. For many of you guys who play this game, you guys also play Animal Crossing, and in that game you can time skip by changing your clock and then everything moves forward that amount of time. But in this game, do not time skip. It will break your game, your events tab will not work anymore, a bunch of other things. Just don't do it. Thankfully I learned of this ahead of time, because sometimes, you know, things take longer than you want them to, but do not do it. On the lower end, you'll just lose online functions, but it could also make you restart your entire save and lose all the progress you've made. So another thing I have for you guys is, let's say Ursula or Ariel are on the other side of the river and you just can't reach them, or very far out into the ocean, and you need them to come to shore for whatever reason. You could pull out your phone and put them in frame, and they'll want to come over to take a picture with you, and then when they're close you can just go up and talk to them. One of the last tips I have for you guys has to do with your companions getting in the way of you whenever you're foraging, farming, mining, you know, because they want to give you extra resources, but they can get annoying. You can fence in your companion and then go about your merry way, you know, collecting forageables or farming, and at the end of it you can release your companion and they'll just walk up to the last spot you mined, you harvested, or you foraged, and then give you all your extra resources. But sometimes the fences don't work. You could also surround them with rocks. That has worked 100% of the time, while them teleporting out of the fences has been an issue for me. And the last tip I have for you guys is to keep a chest near your garden, because you can put your seeds in there, and whenever you're collecting and you get one of those special events, you have no items to break your streak. And also lock up your gardeners so that they won't walk into you either. But I lied, guys, there's one more tip. Be sure that whenever you're planting, that there is a green arrow pointing upwards on your crop. That means that is the place where your crop will grow the most efficient. For example, that carrot grows the best in the meadow. If I were to plant it in the plaza or any other location, it would take longer to grow. So it'll save you a bunch of time whenever you're growing crops. And that is it for the tips and tricks that I have learned thus far, and that you guys might have not known, hopefully. Otherwise, this video's null. But maybe there's one or two of you out there who didn't know at least one or two of these tips and tricks, and hopefully it helps you guys. If you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, whatever it is, you can drop a comment down in the comment section and I'll be sure to respond. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.